All right, trying this one more time. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of QuattroQuattroDos. This is your boy Cristian, once again bringing you all the soccer news, with a little Houston twist to them. Once again, you can find the show at QuattroQuattroDos on Twitter, not on Twitter, sorry, on Instagram, and also you can find it on the YouTube channel. You can see all the podcast episodes on there, and then you can also see a bunch of interviews that I have done in the past with many different people in the soccer community here in Houston as well. Pretty cool. Check them out if you want to learn a little bit about some different Houston stuff, related to soccer. And then also you can check me out, of course, Chris Putalias, Putallaz. That's actually my name. On Instagram and Twitter as well. And then QuattroQuattroDos, of course, is QuattroQuattroDos. Every time I say those, I feel like a rapper for some reason, even though they don't rhyme. But it is what it is. Before we get into the whole Dynamo stuff that I had planned out to talk about, the good and the bad, the ugly and the whatever, let's just talk about a couple minutes about the NWSL. So NWSL, of course, the Houston Dash are killing it over there. They are doing a great job. They just beat Utah in penalties this past few days. I'm recording Monday, so I think they play Saturday if I'm not mistaken, or Friday. I don't think it matters because right now we're living in the future, so it is what it is. They beat the Utah Royals in penalties. Jane Campbell was the hero of the night, but it was cool to see. It was a really tough game. Very, very, very tough game. There was a lot of fighting. There was a lot of, not punches, but very close. Shout out to Visalli. She was about to throw hands with some Spanish chick in there. And then also there was even ribs broken. One of the Dash players right now slips my mind, but she had one of her ribs fractured. She had to go to the hospital, the whole 9 yards and stuff like that. But you can tell that, women's soccer, it's probably tougher than men's soccer because men's soccer, freaking, they get touched, they flop like LeBron James, just to name a few. But yeah, women's soccer is like tough. So shout out to the Dash, holding it down for the age one more time. And hopefully, they play Portland Thorns this upcoming Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. here Central Time. So be on the lookout on that. CBS All Access, because the other one's CVS, where you actually go get, buy milk and stuff like that. That's where you can watch the show. Not the show, the actual game. And then, of course, if you're out of this country of the USAA, you can watch it on Twitch. So I don't know if I have any international listeners, but if I do, check it out on Twitch. So hopefully we get a good result, and then that can push us through to the final on Sunday, and then we can have some type of a social distancing parade or something whenever they come back to town with the cup. So ladies, dash the fuck on. So hashtag dash TF on, because PC culture. So, and then also there was some news that it seems like there's another team coming to the NWSL, so it's growing. It's gonna go up to 10 teams, so it's gonna be very interesting. Seems like LA is gonna be the new city. LA, it is what it is. We're gonna have to beat them as well. But yeah, Dash, great job, making us proud, repping the H. So thank you for holding it down for us, because that's something the boys can't do. So at least we have y'all. Also, check out the Surge. They have some really badass jerseys going. I'm not going to say I'm going to buy some because I'm actually poor at the moment. But, hopefully sometime in the future, we'll get something going. They've been doing a lot of stuff for the community. So give them a shout, check them out and stuff like that. Also, check out, all the other supporter groups. They've been doing cool stuff. I know some guys from El Batallón have been getting together to watch games. So, I guess if you want to go watch a game with a socially, whatever it's called nowadays, socially in a good socially way, I guess. I don't know. They've been doing that with the whole mask and stuff. So they've been responsible and also enjoying some well, I guess not enjoying much, but at least they're getting together with the family and watching the games. When I say family, of course, I mean the Dynamo family. So shout out to the supporter groups doing great things out there. Also, I want to give a shout out to the Peel. Saw their show earlier today with Justin and Josh and Edson. I still get them confused. I mean, not that I get them confused. I know who they are. Just the whole Josh Justin, I think, is too close. But actually, Josh was the one that had the baby. So shout out to Josh. Congratulations on your new baby. Yeah, they're not that hard. I have 3 of them. I mean, it helps that I have a wife, right? But obviously, you have a wife as well. So she's going to make it a lot easier on you. But, congratulations on a new child. But yeah, great show today. And also, I want to give a shout out to a new homie from Todo Dynamo on Instagram and Twitter. Homeboy Federico, I think it is. Fede. Another Argentinian. And I think he can sing. So, double whammy. He can talk soccer and talk to you smooth if you wanted to, because he can sing. But yeah, he's actually doing a pretty cool giveaway. All he needs is for everybody to go subscribe to his page and stuff. He actually has really cool interviews on his YouTube channel with some players. So go check that out. And also, the cool giveaway. So I'm saying we, like I'm part of his stuff. But he wants to get to 1,000 followers. He's kind of close. Obviously, he has like 100 more than me. So give him a shout. Go check out his stuff. He actually just did an interview / talk with Victor Araiza from the Glenn Davis family, I guess, of shows. Another Victor Araiza is another great reporter here in the city of Houston that covers a lot of Houston sports. Very knowledgeable dudes that were talking about soccer and the whole shebang. But yeah, it was cool to listen to actually 2 shows. It's crazy because I don't know who I told, but when I started my whole like podcasting and ideas of talking about the Dynamo, for some reason, I couldn't believe that I was gonna be the only one that had like some type of podcasting show or some type of like, show of talking about the Dynamo. But of course, I was wrong because there was a whole bunch of us doing that. But it's pretty cool to see many people very interested in the team and very interested in the culture of soccer here in Houston. So you have Generation Orange. Shout out to those guys as well. Keeping Tabs. Shout out to those guys. I feel like I'm missing some. Actually, the Dash. Check those guys out. Haley, and I'm forgetting the dude's name. But, they cover the Houston Dash. Pretty cool show. I know I'm missing a few. Switch to the Pitch. It's a bunch of ladies that talk about soccer. It's pretty cool, if you want to get a different perspective. But yeah, those are some of the shows that are coming to mind. If you're interested in, listening to somebody other than me, I guess. Because I know I can get a little bit annoying, I guess, in a way. Water break. So yeah, after all that, I wanted to go ahead and talk about the Dynamo, our beloved and pain in the ass Dynamo. And you probably ask yourself, why is it a pain in the ass? Well, because we can't fucking win a game. That's why it's a pain in the ass. But it is what it is. The game with Portland, of course, wasn't the greatest. I think going into the I think we all kind of knew a little bit that going into this group of death type thing, we were gonna, it was gonna be tough playing against LAFC and Portland. LA Galaxy, we still kind of, they're beatable in a way. They're not like the Galaxy they used to be, I guess, in a way. Like they're not Donovan Galaxy, or what's this guy? The Inter Miami guy, Beckham. Of course, I would forget Beckham's name. But they're not the Beckham of Zlatan or Beckham, or sorry, they're not the LA Galaxy of Beckham or Zlatan or whatever. They're the LAFC of Chicharito, But it is what it is. He's actually not playing. But going into the game with Portland, Well, if you didn't actually hear, but I did a whole episode with Houston against LAFC. Check that one out. It should be like the previous one. But this one against Portland. Of course, Portland is probably one of the best teams out here in the MLS, for sure, with Visalli and a bunch of other dudes. Another bunch, I'm just saying Visalli because that's the first one that comes up to mind, and actually because he scored on us. But there's a bunch of names that actually, really good names that, play up there. But Portland always they have been in the scene for a few years now, competing up there and fighting for those championship spots, not like us, just trying to get into the G-Dam playoffs, but they actually been fighting for stuff. So obviously going into the game, we knew that it was going to be hard, it was going to be difficult. Even Tab Ramos said, they're going to be a hard team, this and that. So being that said, I think everybody knows that we lost 2-1. It was kind of like, but that's the thing. Okay, so let's get into the game. So most of this episode, it might be just like a big old rant, but it is what it is, because I think it's been a long time coming, in a way. But then you'll see why. Because I'm very conflicted in a way, because I understand like the people that are pissed off at this team, club/team. But then also I can see why we shouldn't be extremely mad at the team or extremely mad at the club. And here's why. Let me give you some of the reasons. So going into this game, we looked better than playing LAFC. In my opinion, of course, everybody has their opinion, but in my opinion, we looked better. That first half, we seemed to have tying up a little bit of the mistakes that we were doing with the LAFC. Not that great. I'm not saying we were a lot better, but we were like a little step better. Obviously, the game with the LAFC was kind of like shitty in a way, even though we didn't lose. So this was a little bit above that. But of course, there were some inconsistencies when it came to the technical side of soccer. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and say that I am, a freaking soccer guru. I just basically call it as I see it. I think of myself as a somewhat knowledgeable soccer person. I think my soccer IQ is average, to say the least. But of course, I don't know, but the thoughts that I had in my head were kind of confirmed with like different people, of course, that kind of know soccer, in the same way that I do in a way. So, basically the consensus is that our fullbacks, Lundy on the left and Valentin on the right, just don't seem to like, I don't know if understand is the word, but they just don't seem to fit into like the game or style of play. Against the LA Galaxy, the first game, Valentin had a great game. But Lundy, he seems to be struggling in the part of going up and then coming down, which is like very vital, for a fullback. Because nowadays it has become, in like the state of soccer today, it has become a position where the fullbacks literally have become like attacking mids in a way. I remember, back in my day, if you play fullback, like you weren't attacking as much, maybe, like Zanetti back in, like I'm going back in the day, like Zanetti was like one of the first few, or like Roberto Carlos was like, were anomalies to the game of fullbacks. Like all the other fullbacks would like literally play up to half field that I have a notion of. Of course, I was very young, but to me, looking back, those were like the only players that stuck out to me because they were outside of those norms of like being a defensive player, but also being an attacker at the time of attack when it was needed. So coming back to this Lundy and Valentin situation is like, they seem to go and attack, but they seem to forget to come back. I don't know if it's because they forget or because they get caught, they get caught up in the front and that they just like don't get back. Like I was watching the Peel, the show, and Edson, which pretty cool setup he has there. He was actually showing the video of the goal, and yeah, you can definitely see that in the first game, in the first goal, Lundy gets cut up very, very, very up front, which gives, you know, da pie, I guess in Spanish, which gives the beginning of the play that has one of the Portland Timbers gets the ball basically in that area, and then he's able to cross the ball, you know, on the side of Valentin, who also gets cut up front. And of course, you know, we all know how that ended. Personally, a lot of people were talking about how Merrick, whatever the goalie's name is. I say that because I don't know how you people pronounce it, but I call him Marriage. Marriage supposedly was an easy ball. I mean, personally, I don't think it was an easy ball. I think the goal was a really badass goal. The guy, you know, he just had a good shot, and he had like the perfect angle. Even though it was a very, very difficult angle for him to shoot that ball and to actually score it, I think he just got enough angle and enough power into that ball to like put it in the corner. So I mean, I'm not like, honestly, I didn't reprimand Marriage on nothing. I think he had a really, really good game. He blocked a lot of shots. He looks to be, I forgot who said it. I don't know if it was on the broadcast or whatever, but it seemed like Marriage is a really good blocker of shots, which obviously you're a goalie, you're supposed to do that, but he knows how to like block those hard shots that are coming from outside the box. Maybe he's having trouble in getting the ones that are coming from the sides, because literally that's how LAFC scored, and that's how well, actually no, because the second goal from Portland was different. But also going into the second goal of Portland, also that happened the same thing. Lundy got cut up front, ball went up over his head. Defender went up the line like nothing, and then, you know, he cut back, passed back, found Valeri, top of the box, all by himself. You give him enough room, you know, he'll move it around for a little bit, and then he'll put it in the back of the net. Like, there's no big problem for him. But then that's when you see the problems arise, when the team is not like coordinated enough to like attack as a unit and come back as a unit. Like, we just get like stranded up there, and then you expect a 35-year-old and Maynard Figueroa, which, you know, does his job, but you can only expect so much from like a 30-some-year-old dude. I'm not saying obviously that he sucks. I'm just saying that, you know, it is what it is. And then Kiki, which, you know, you can only expect so much from two center backs that are being attacked by 3-4 guys. Like, there's, you know, it is what it is. If the midfielders and the fullbacks don't come back, then there's no way they can hold it down, like literally against 5-4 guys, you know. But it is what it is, you know. I think obviously defensively, Tab Ramos has a lot of work to do. But one of the points that people have been bringing up is that Tab Ramos kind of inherited this team. And, you know, he wasn't able to get, I mean, I don't know, but I guess we do know. He wasn't able to get all the pieces that maybe he wanted in the beginning of the season to begin with. Obviously, he just kind of took over the team, and he was like, you know, these are the cards you were dealt, bro. You know, go play poker, basically. And I guess he's trying to do the best he can, but that's where we start getting into the whole, like, whose fault is it? Who do we blame? Do we blame the players? Do we blame the coach? Do we blame Matt Jordan? Do we blame the front office? When I say front office, I mean the owners. Who do we blame? Like, who has the blame for it? Because you have, like, for example, not to call it any names, Lundy had a shitty game. Manotas has been lost for 2 games. Unfortunately, we didn't have Cristian Ramirez. I think Cristian Ramirez would have been a different ball game. We got Quinteros, who is older, you know, but not really. He's probably like in his early 30s, 32, maybe 33. But he's a whole different player to what, you know, according to the other people that are more knowledgeable in his career. And according, you know, they're saying that whenever he played in Mexico, he was legit. And I think that's what we expected. I don't know if maybe it was my perception that whenever we got him, that we kind of saw him as not a savior, but he was going to be like a DP, like a designated player, a player that was going to be a game changer. And we just haven't seen that much from him. Like, basically all he does, I mean, I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying that all he does is get the ball and kind of calm everything down, which I think is needed in a Dynamo. And I think is needed in the MLS because the MLS is so fast paced. It's such a vertical, is that vertical? Horizontal? Yeah. Such a vertical game that we play in the MLS that sometimes you need a guy to like stall the ball, like just keep it for 2 seconds, keep it, regroup, come down, slow down, maybe that's just the style of soccer that I like to play. But it is, it is what it is. Like I said, Quinteros, he hasn't been showing up in a way. He's just holding the ball here and there. And then also we don't have a number 10. I've been saying this from the beginning of time, and I think I'll say it from the rest of time. I understand that the game has changed. I understand that soccer is probably not the same soccer that I am used to playing or that I'm used to watching. But I think we need somebody, and that's what I've been saying. Like, Quinteros has kind of been doing that role of being like a playmaker in a way, but also Memo has been playing that role. We are used to seeing Memo running down the sides, but now we are seeing Memo kind of towards the middle a little bit more, which is giving him a little bit more of creative freedom to do a little bit more of what he pleases with the ball, with the game. Change the speed, change the directions and stuff like that. I think he has potential to be a number 10, but I see Memo as more as a number 8. What is the number 8 to me is more of a backup to the number 10. Is the one that's going to fight all the balls, is the one that's going to attack when attack and defend when defend. The dude is a hard worker. Like, he has balls. Like, he's gonna fight for every ball because he has the nuts to do it. Like, he's gonna fight for it. You know what I'm saying? And the number 10 is like a different mindset. Is it? It's a play. I guess, like I've been saying, it's my games, my style of game, I guess. And we are missing just somebody to control the ball, to give a pass, to come down. Because right now all we're doing is countering and trying to use the Ellis, like literally squeezing the juice out of Ellis. Like, that's what we try to do. And he's gonna cross it and hopefully find Manotas, Memos, or somebody up there, and then somebody closing in the back. That's basically the game of the Dynamo. And like, I don't know about you, but it's just like we are so like one-dimensional as a team. Like, that's how I feel. I don't know. So to keep moving on, what do we do? Like, I've been looking. So a lot of people have been talking about Matt Jordan. So Victor Araiza, a couple of days ago, maybe, or a day ago, was talking about. Maybe he wasn't talking about it, but he was just pointing out how Matt Jordan is basically the common denominator of shitty Dynamo in a way. It says not everyone, let me see. But yeah, he posted, not that anyone needed further proof if you analyze his team from the past 6 years, but every match continues to show why Matt Jordan should not be renewed as a GM sporting director. I guess what he's trying to say is that maybe he won't, like maybe he's thinking he won't be, but I can see why, of course, because Matt Jordan is in charge of being the sporting director. What is a sporting director? You are in charge of getting players. You're in charge of putting a team together. You're in charge of working with the coach and putting a team that is going to be competitive, that's going to, turn heads, and you're going to, work on player development and stuff like that. If you haven't seen the interview I did with Edson from down in the Valley, we talked a little bit about RGV and basically how the Dynamo, in a way, use RGV as a funnel of talent, in a way. But then also at the same time, we kind of screw them up. And also, I mean, I'm not saying that RGV, I'm not saying anything about that. I'm just saying that we're not getting players like Edson would say, like we come to a point that RGV gets like really, really good players that are playing in RGV, and the Dynamo go and pluck them out. And then what do? We set them in the bench for a whole year. So what kind of use does that have to taking a player out of a competitive team in the USL Championship that maybe it could get that team to like a better spot, because you know RGB kind of has been struggling a little bit, but it's not because they want to struggle in a way, but because they don't have any players. Like right now, their roster is super like depleted because the Dynamo needed people, so they signed like 4 or 5 guys from over there. And it's just like, you know, they're just picking up players, and then you're not playing them in the first team. So it's like, what's the point of you taking players from RGV if you're not gonna play them? I mean, what are you doing? You know, like, you're developing them, but how? When is there an opportunity? I think obviously with Tab Ramos, we see a little bit more of hope for these young guys. I mean, Lemoyne has already played. But obviously with Cabrera in the past, like he wouldn't give the kids a chance. So, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, Matt Jordan, he's actually in charge of, you know, the Dynamo and RGV. So it's like, you know, I guess you can start and question like some of his decisions. You know, like some players that he bought, like Victor Raiza was naming, like Cubo Torres, he spent a good amount of money on that, and that didn't work out. Then you have, let's see. Then of course he's not making any decisions when it comes to what's this guy? Manotas or Elis, like they're not being sold. They're possibly about to walk out for free. It's like, you know, like what is it? Like what do we want? I mean, who knows? Like here he talked about Barnes and Bruin back a few years back. Like he doubled their salaries and then he traded them away, and then, you know, no money was kind of came back on that. It's just like, you know, and we have one of the lowest payrolls in the MLS. So it's not like we're spending a lot of money, but then also we're not getting any money for any investments. Like we haven't invested on any players, and like the players that we get, I don't know how this is gonna sound, but I guess I'll say it and then I'll just get reprimanded for it, I guess. I don't know who's gonna reprimand me, but it is what it is. But like the players that we've been getting, like I'm sure they're great players. Obviously they're professionals. I'm not. I just talk shit for a living. Well, not for a hopefully someday I'll talk shit for a living. But like we are getting players that sometimes they'll turn out good, because that's the whole plan of Matt Jordan. Like he has said it time and time again. His plan is to get diamonds in the rough. But then you run the risk though, because like I'm not a freaking gemologist. Is that a word? I don't know. But like when you get something that you don't know how it's gonna turn out, it can either be like you can have a freaking, I don't know, like a Vera. You know, I love Vera. Like he's great. He has become like an anchor of the team. But then you can get like, I can't, like on top of my head I can't name any shitty players. But like, well, I mean I could, but I don't want to. But you know, you get other players that are just like a waste of time, a waste of money, a waste of resources, a waste of this and that for nothing. Because you brought them here, you paid them, and you got nothing in return. So like, I don't know, maybe like what is it that he's doing wrong? Like do we have to switch our plan? Like, I mean, what is it? Like, what is it? Where do we have to go look at different countries? Because I don't know, like we've been we go to Honduras a lot. Obviously, we are known for freaking as Houston Honduras and shit. And there's nothing wrong with that, because there's shit out of there came out Kyoto, came out Elis, came out Bonnie Garcia. Like obviously it's been very fruitful, I guess, in a way. But are those players that are coming out of these countries, or like, for example, I don't know, Peña, to say, you know, or I can't think of anybody else, but let's just keep it at that. are these players like top tier players? Are these players turning into players that we are able to like get our money for them, like as a club? Like, are we developing them and turning into like a freaking gem? Tomas Martinez, like all these players, like yes, they have a lot of potential, and of course you can never you can't read the future. You don't know how it's going to turn out. But then who does that fall under? Like, who do we blame? Who do we blame for all this? Like, I mean, I'm sorry, but like, you have the title, you know, like you are the vice president, general manager of the club. Like, it falls under your head in a way. Like, you were in charge, and it's just, it is what it is. Like, and I'm not saying that it's completely your fault, because you trusted your scouts, you trusted, what is it? Like, do we have to change our scouts? Do we have to get better scouts? Like, could that be a solution? You know, I don't know. I'm just, you know, throwing shit out there. But I'm just saying, because I hate to, like, I mean, I'm not going to get anybody fired. You know, I don't, like we say in Spanish, you know, so ni pincho ni corto. Like, my word is not, like, the final word. It'd be cool, but it's not my word. You know, my word is not going to change or make any decisions. But it feels bad to talk shit about people that you don't know, because they're probably, like, great people. But when it comes to the business side of things, you start looking at things and you're like, well, but it's not turning out, you know? But then you have other people that are like, well, the owners don't care. The owners don't pull out their checkbooks. And then you have the argument, it's like, well, you know, if I give, like Victor Araiza said, if I'm giving Matt Jordan this amount of money and you're bringing in Cubo Torres that, you know, maybe he had an okay season, and then you're bringing this guy, and then you're bringing this guy, and then you're bringing this guy, and like, and they're not turning out to be like the best players in your team, or they're not difference changers. Like, come on, dude, like, I'm giving you all this money, like, give me a return for my investment. Unfortunately, in this country, everything's about money in a way. So of course, if you're buying a team, you're investing, not only, you don't invest in yourself unless you have love for the club, but you're literally investing in your money. Like, you're hoping that you buying a team is going to make you more money in a way. And that's the shitty part of it, because at the end of the day, we suffer as fans. I believe it. You know, of course, everything falls on my selfish self, but like, we want a winning team, bro. Like, this is Houston, Texas, like 4th largest city, like greatest potential. Like, we could bring out so many players out of, like, you can go to freaking Cypress, Katy, go to the south side, go to the north side, go to Pasadena, go to freaking Kingwood, and go to go to, dude, like, there's so many, like go to A-Leaf, like there's so many, like, Spring Branch. Like, I could just start naming, like, in all these places that I'm naming are, like, because I know somebody that lived in that area that were killing it at the time where I was playing, you know? And it's like, and I know there's more teams, like, there's like UPSL teams, like all these Matias Almeida Academy, the Texas Hawks, the Houston FC, the KD Athletic or some shit, or KDFC. There's so many of these little, like, soccer nowadays is so organized, and there's so many different leagues, and there's so many, like, 17, 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old kids that, you know, have so much potential. And of course, I see that they're doing that right now, hiring all these new people. Obviously, like, Matt Holliker, I think it is, you know, with the whole academy, and, like, you know, signing literally 15-year-old kids into the first team, and you're like, well, shit, there's something going on. But then it's like, how long do we have to wait till we get something out of this team? Like, I don't want to be the Astros. I don't want to suffer for 4 or 5 years to get a championship. I don't know, because at the end you're like, is it worth it? I don't know. But then also, you have to go back and you have to look at the team. So I looked up the Wikipedias. So we got our new stadium 2012, right? We went to, I think we went to the advanced to Eastern Conference Finals in 2012. We missed the playoffs in 2013, 14, 15, 16. That's 4 years in a row that we missed playoffs. Matt Jordan became the vice president in November of 2014. So let's not count 2014. So 3 years. Those first 3 years, let me see, vice president, general manager. So yeah, see, then he was promoted to senior vice president. I don't know what's the difference. Maybe he got more money, but it is what it is. So in 3 years, the first 3 years of Matt Jordan's campaign, or whatever you want to call it, reign or whatever, we missed the playoffs. I think, or also a common denominator was Cabrera, maybe, but it is what it is. 2017 came around. We went to the Western Conference Finals, if I'm not mistaken. That we got beat by, we went to the Western Conference Finals, and we got beat by Seattle Sounders. That was the first time clinching the playoffs since 2013. So after a drought of 4 years, we went to the, literally, we're in the top 4 teams in the here in the MLS. 2019, we didn't do too hot in the MLS, but we won the U.S. Open Cup. We went to the CONCACAF. We did okay. We got beat by Tigres, he's Tigres, but then, we haven't done shit since. So then you start thinking, it's okay, first few years were shitty. Maybe, the whole revamping of the club, or not the club, but the team and all that. But then you have a conference semifinal and then a U.S. Open Cup. Then you have to kind of think to yourself, how valuable are those? How valuable is a U.S. Open Cup? Is that worth, I don't know, how many U.S. Open Cups are worth an MLS Cups? If you win, for the rest of your life, if you win all U.S. Open Cups and you don't win an MLS Cup, does that equate? I don't think so, right? But, it's a cup, right? We celebrated it. I was there. I celebrated it, And then a Western Conference Final. I know it's not a final, per se. But, it's the Western Conference Final, and you lost against Seattle, who I believe they actually won that cup. So you lost to the best team. But then, of course, we're in 2020. Of course, I guess this year we won't count it, I guess, in a way, because, Corona. But, 2019, that was a shitty year. Literally, it was one of the worst years ever. Obviously, we didn't lose Cabrera. We kicked them out, in a way. And literally, we were, let's just put it out there, we were terrible. Vancouver was, I think, the worst team. And we were right above them. So, I don't know. But then that brings me to another point. If you look at James, the coach of the Dash, I forgot his name. But James, basically, his first year here, shitty season. I think the Dash people will agree with me. But then he got the opportunity to get players that he wanted and get players that maybe he needed for his team. And where do we see him now? Of course, the NWSL is not the MLS. And the reason I'm saying that is because in the MLS, there's about almost 30 teams. In the NWSL, there's only 8 or 9. We're now going to be 10. So obviously, it's not the same thing. It's not the same league. But then also you see how much it influences when a coach gets to make the decisions of the players that he has or he wants, per se. So, we got rid of Kaylee O'Hai, also known as Watt. That maybe it was a fan favorite just because of her name. I don't know. I didn't see her play, so I don't know. But then also we got a few players, talking to Haley and talking to Sarah from Bayou City Republic. They talked about how this team seemed very, very strong. And we're seeing the fruits of that. We're in the semifinal. I like how I say we when I don't do nothing. But we the Dash. We are in the semifinal of the Challenge Cup. So what about us Houston Dynamo fans? Does that mean that we should wait one more year to 2021 when shit has to go down and Tab gets his players? Because there was a whole, also somebody else posted, and I think Victor retweeted it. There's a whole bunch of players that their contracts are up. So, for example, Figueroa, his contract is up at the end of the year. Boniek, his contract is up. Seren, Cristian Ramirez, for him, I would bring him back. Tomas Martinez. I don't know, my friend. Salazar. Michael Salazar. Tommy McNamara, fan favorite. Fuenmayor. I would keep him. He's young, he's good. Memo, of course. Please give him a fat check. Lemoyne, he's a new kid. Palomino, new kid. Hansen, we don't know. We haven't seen him play. Kyle Adams, new kid. But, he could be useful in the back. Nelson, the goalkeeper, of course. You always want a good keeper. And then Junqua, also a new kid. So obviously there's going to be a lot of changes this year. Like literally, I think there's going to be a mass exodus of players, and then there's going to be some players coming in. But I don't know. I think we're just going to have to wait and see, see what the hell goes on this offseason. But that's the thing. How much as a fan can we hold on to? Like, how much can we wait? How much can we support? How much can we stand seeing a shitty Houston Dynamo team? Like, how many more years? Talking to my brother, he was like, maybe we should wait 2 or 3 more years, for like so we can get a good product. So, basically pull a Houston Astros. But then again, it's like, how much do we want to wait? Like, and then when we don't do good, like, who's gonna say, hey, like, we're doing something, we're trying? Because, to this day, nobody has said anything. The only thing that they're doing is the academy, and yeah, it's being fruitful. But, nobody's saying that with the first team, and we're shitty as ever. Like, not shitty as ever, but, we're not playing top level. Like, hand over your heart. We can't say that we are a competitive team, But being all that said, I think I will rant it off for a good time. I would like to know, people never comment on my shit, but I would like to know what your opinion is. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are. Who do we blame? Who do we not blame? Do we wait? Do we just sit down and wait? But don't forget, check out The Dash. Check out all the other podcasts out there that support the Houston Dynamo and The Dash as well. Check out also Down in the Valley, RGV, badass golazo too. I saw that. I didn't see the game, unfortunately, but I was able to see the goal. So it was a badass golazo. And I apologize, Edson, but it seems like if that guy keeps playing good, the Dynamo might just pick him right off your team, and I apologize in advance. But it is what it is, brother. Thank you again for listening. Thank you for ranting with me. Hopefully you can see the passion that as a new Dynamo fan I have for this team. I want a winning team. Jesus Christ, give me a winning team, Jesus. Sweet baby Jesus. But QuattroQuattroDos on everything. Thank you everybody for listening, and I'll see you guys next time. Y'all have a good one. See ya. Dash the fuck on.